Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to PWW Talks. I am your host, Daniel Burke, and always with me, my co-host, my best friend for over 20 years, Mac. Welcome back to the program again after another challenging weekend as far as programming is concerned. Because
I think this is the most challenging weekend.
It definitely was. It felt like it was because of the fact that we had one show bleeding into another. Meanwhile, that first show that we were from the whole weekend started at 1 o'clock and didn't end till around 9.
Well, hold on. I mean, listen, we're not even counting SmackDown.
No.
We're not counting the show that we both missed.
No.
Then, so we have, depending on how you viewed it, you could have done all three if you wanted to, but that you would have been up till like 2 a.m. probably.
Oh, God.
You have 3 shows. You have one show Friday, 3 shows, 2 of which are considered back-to-back on Saturday. You have another show on Sunday, and then you have Raw on Monday. And then if you watch NXT, you have NXT on Tuesday.
And then Dynamite was last night.
On Wednesday.
So it's like, ah!
That was a long week plus of wrestling.
To say I think a lot of us have a hangover, so to speak. I wouldn't say it's a Jaeger hangover. Probably yes, definitely that. There was a lot of that this past weekend to try to get through it and also not try to fall asleep at the same time. I wanted to start the program this week by giving AEW their flowers on delivering a show as from a booking perspective was absolutely dead on perfect. The only thing that me and Mac really kind of nitpicked throughout the show that I would have done differently is maybe some of the production cues. Zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. And that's on your hard cam side. There were a lot of spots that they still kind of miss because of some of their camera work that, I mean, I get it. You're in the truck and you're trying to follow along with the action. But I don't know if zooming in and then zooming out on the hard cam all the time. And then also when you're going and making camera changes, changing your angles and that type of stuff, you're doing that while it's the live shot. Just because you're talking to somebody that has a degree in communications with a focus in mass media. And also the co-host of this program has a degree in this as well. So we're going to nitpick production because
do you remember that
that's what I was taught.
In Wayne's World? I think it was I forget it was Wayne's World 1 or Wayne's World 2. I think it was the second one. And he's closing his eyes rapidly to Cassandra, who's his girlfriend. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. That is literally how I felt watching that show.
That
I wanted to scream, and I remember saying this to you at one point. If it was that night or maybe Sunday, I believe it was Sunday, where I basically said that there was a shot in the men's gauntlet match where MJF is sprawled out on the floor with his head up against the commentary table, I guess, and MJF is there on guest commentary, which we'll talk about that too in a second.
Yes.
And it's a great shot. And do you know how long that was on the screen? Maybe about 5 seconds. And they never went back to it again because of the action inside the ring, which I understand. But it's such a great shot, and you only used it for 5 seconds. Just there were a lot of moments, like you mentioned, that were very much like that. In terms of the guest commentary, I really loathed having what felt like a guest commentator at every single match.
It did feel like that at certain points. it did get to a point where you're just sitting there.
Except
and
JR, I'm sorry. That I liked. I'm glad JR
was
there.
fine, of course. But it was like everybody else. It was like it was like a revolving door at the same point. It's like every match had to have a bit. That was the guest announcer, because it's like Don Callis was there for Omega and Okada. Then you had MVP in there for the tag team match. And then you had
He was there for that
MJF
too. I
doing.
forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like all this was just leading up to the whole time of all this. Like, it's just, there's so many times you're just like, slow down a little bit here.
Yeah.
Let something breathe. You got to do that in your camera work a little bit.
Yeah, let it breathe. Exactly. I remember there was one point that we were talking about this, about the zoom in, zoom out for the hard cam side, and they did it for Okada, and you kind of just look at me and you go, well, they're supposed to do that, and that's his thing. And I go, at this point, I don't care. This is the second to last match. I don't care anymore. Like, just, I'm over it. I understood they did it for him, which they 100% should have, but the thing that they did that irked me is that right after they did it, they started slowly zooming back in again. And it just drove me wild the whole night.
It really was just like you're watching. I'm watching the production of it, and I'm just I zoned out. After I really got annoyed with it, at one point I just said, "Forget it," because if I'm gonna ruin the show if I keep doing this to myself. And the other part of the show, which I love Dave, good old Dave Meltzer, when he says that their plan was to do an 8-hour show, or however the length of the show was to bleed into or hurt WWE's counter programming. I call foul on that. I don't know.
There might be zero.
I call foul on that, Dave. You know how he operates. You know also how Brian and yourself have said that it's a problem when the main event is going out just before midnight. That was a consistent problem with his pay-per-views. They tend to run long. So for someone to say, oh, he did it for counter programming, don't say that. Because we know what this company does. It's no time limit for any match. These guys are going to go, some of these big matches, of course, are going to go 40 minutes. The false finish is up the rear end. But you know what? I accepted it. I appreciated it. I applauded it.
I don't think that's every match on this card, though.
Not every match on this card should have been this way.
Well, I don't even mean it that way. I mean it in the respect of like looking at the non-time limit, what I'm going to call it is overbooking false finishes, because a lot of the matches did it. We'll get into them more specifically later, but the Bucks match, the women's AEW World Championship match, I thought both of those had way too many false finishes. Like, just way too much, to the point of being gratuitous.
Well,
not that I hated the finishes, but, you know.
Boy. I mean, that 3 pile drivers in a row and you kick out.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I on that one, I literally, I almost just threw my hands up. If I didn't pay for the show, I would have shut it off. Because that is one of those points in a wrestling event where I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, that's too much.
Yeah, 100%.
But she did it on the Avalanche. She did the Avalanche pile driver, and that's what put her away. She hit 3 fucking ones in a row. Jerry Lawler didn't do that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The only time Lawler did it was to Andy Kaufman, when I think he hit like 2 or 3 in a row. And Kaufman sold it like he got his neck broken and got taken out by the ambulance.
Well, I mean, Kaufman should have sold it that way.
Well, he's also a genius, but at the same point,
there's that too.
It's the fact that this move has always been settled as devastating. Many injuries have been caused legitimately, but also they have been used in a kayfabe sense to either end someone's career or put them on the shelf for a long period of time. I think about the irony with Paul Orndorff. Paul Orndorff used the pile driver throughout his whole career. It was his finishing move. The injury angle that it did to take him out was a spike pile driver on the concrete by the Horseman.
Yeah.
The irony of that. But Mercedes Moné took 3 of them from Tony Storm and kicked out at 2.
Well, before we get there, this was a long pay-per-view.
Let's cut the fat on this, all right? Because because I'm looking at everything now. Okay.
Well, let's do it this way. We'll go through it very quickly for what was there, and then we'll go back and talk about them individually for what we have to talk about. So I'll get into it. So there were 3 pre-show matches. I'm just gonna run through those real quick. The Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes, Marshall Von Erich, Ross Von Erich, and Sammy Guevara with Kelly Von Erich defeat Shane Taylor Promotions, which is Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, I didn't even know he was still there, Carly Bravo, and Captain Sean Dean with Anthony Ogogo and Trish Adora. The next match, also in the pre-show, also an 8-man tag match. Big Boom, AJ and the Conglomeration, Kyle O'Reilly, Hologram, and Tomoshiro Ishii with Big Justice and the Rizzler defeat the Don Callis family. I can't even pronounce half these names. Hikari Caro? I know somebody's going to flame me for that pronunciation. Lance Archer and Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. And the last match of the pre-show, which is, I'm just going to argue the better one, obviously, that we actually watched, was FTR with Stokely defeating the Outrunners, which are Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd.
That was a good match, actually.
It was a good match.
Yeah.
I was actually pleasantly surprised that it was a good match.
I like the Outrunners for some dumb reason.
I don't know. I think everybody likes FTR enough that they were happy to get them on the card, so there was that.
Right. We saw them later anyways, too.
Yes, we did. They were also one of the guest commentators, ironically.
Yes.
So the first match of the true card itself, the actual all-in show, not the pre-show, not the 0 hour, whatever the hell we're calling it, was the Ops, which is Shibata, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe defeating the Death Riders, which are, or at least in this match, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. And Gabe Kidd somehow was also thrown into this match as their third. The Ops retain their titles, and then Samoa Joe gets attacked post-match and stretchered out. Really rough way to start a card, I felt like, but
yep,
not
your way to start of just. By the way, I hate it too. Of the team that wins the match, the winner gets taken out by a stretcher. It's
I didn't like that
dumb.
I hate it.
I hate that. It's like, okay, I didn't want him to lose the championships, but he's going away to do stuff for Twisted Metal. So, are we? You can take the belt off him for a little bit and then just have him.
But they didn't even do that unless they did it on Dynamite. But I don't know that.
No,
I didn't watch.
No.
All right, so the next match of the card is the men's Casino Gauntlet match for a future AEW World Championship match. TBD.
Jesus Christ,
nobody knows what it's in.
This was a goddamn marathon.
And yes, Dan, it's 100% right. It was. One of the first competitors was MJF. MJF is the one who ended up winning this for a future World Championship match. For those that don't know, it's basically like a Money in the Bank. Really what it comes down to. There's just no ladder match as a part of it. The only thing I'm going to say about this and the women's match, which we did not watch the women's match because we were watching it together, is that these were overbooked. You need to have a cutoff for a gauntlet match. I get it. It's a casino gauntlet match. You could insert your own rules because of that, but dude, maybe stop at like 6. Just you don't need to go to like 20 or however many guys ended up being out there. It wasn't 20, but it was still a lot.
Plus, the announcers didn't even know who was coming out. They didn't even know that,
Yeah.
were people still coming out? They didn't know. It's like, you have to have a set number and just go from there instead of just like, it's still going. We're just going to keep sending guys out.
Yep.
What the hell are you doing?
Yep.
I understand you want to get them on the show, but it's like, this went 35 minutes.
Yeah.
You knew other matches on the card were probably going to hit this time around that. It's like, and then also, it's just...
The other thing I want to bring up here, too, is that some of these guys in this match and in later matches, which we'll talk about, had pretty decently long entrances.
Yes.
And that's like there's a match on here when we get to it. I'll bring that up again. There was one match. I think the intro was like 7+ minutes. Like it had to be. The match was 25 minutes and it was good, but the entrance was probably not included in that time frame. Number one, and number two, quite long. So yeah, MJF wins Casino Gauntlet match, gets the AEW equivalent of Money in the Bank, so he'll challenge for a title down the road. The next match started on kind of a downer after Samoa Joe got stretchered out.
This was terrible.
Yeah, so Samoa Joe got stretchered out in the first match on the actual All-In card. Now Adam Cole comes to the ring, and it was supposed to be Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia, I believe, or Kyle Fletcher, I can't remember which.
I believe Daniel Garcia.
I believe so as well, for the TNT Championship. However, Adam Cole announces he is injured or having some kind of illness. We don't really know. He threw out the word retirement, which is never...
Third concussion in 3 years, apparently.
So yes, most likely it is concussion related. However, again, like, you just ended a match right before the last one with a stretcher, and now you're coming out and having a guy say he's injured and made up a wrestle again. And the fact that it's Adam Cole is really shitty.
And two, the fact this pretty much killed the audience for like the next 2 matches.
Definitely this one, not the next one, I would argue. They came back into it on the next one. However,
they came back into it the next one, yes, but this one was
not so
difficult.
much. This one, I felt like they were kind of booked into a corner too, because they really had no backup plan, which
they were.
I get it, but whatever. So Adam Cole thereby vacates the title. So instead of a one-on-one match for the title, we now have a vacant title for the AEW TNT Championship. Dustin Rhodes, in a fatal 4-way, defeated Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, who is a tag team champion with and just had a match with earlier in the card, if you remember what I said about the pre-show. Dustin Rhodes is your winner. First AEW Singles Championship. They try to make it a feel-good moment while everybody else is kind of scratching their head.
Yeah. I think, well, number one, I think the majority of the audience was still trying to kind of get over earlier what happened in the before this match with everything that kind of happened with Adam Cole, which I got to be honest took me out of this match as well because of the fact that when you saw members of the Undisputed out there with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, I immediately was starting to get kind of like reminiscent of the Shield when Roman Reigns got diagnosed with leukemia again. My thought process went to immediate of a terminal illness or something of that nature. But apparently it is his 3rd concussion in 3 years, which has added to the what have I have thought since he signed with this company in September of 2021, 2021, excuse me, has been snake bit. If there has been a snake bit run in the last 4 years, it is this. Would have this all happened had he re-signed with WWE? I've always thought maybe he kind of regretted not staying after the Vince McMahon leaving in 2022, especially to what was going. He was out. He got injured. His first concussion, I believe, at Forbidden Door 2022. And he was out for a year, and then I think there was he came back. He did the stuff with the whole devil thing. Came back from injury with that concussion. I think he got another concussion early on. Then he seemed okay, back to normal, and then he's got another concussion. And you wonder, and apparently the report is that he pretty much was going to retire as of the morning of All In. If anybody doesn't remember Andrew Luck, the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, who seemed to have injury after injury after injury after injury. And one day he just said, I'm done. And he's yet to return. And this is a guy that was considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL when he was healthy.
Which was close to never, unfortunately.
Which was close to never. And this is kind of my thought process for Adam Cole. It's also my thought process for what we will be talking about later, which, again, is disputed, but we'll talk to that later. But if this is the end for Adam Cole, I am utterly devastated as a wrestling fan. Because of the fact that it's just, you're talking about a guy that 5 or 6 years ago was in the discussion as a top 5 pro wrestler in the world. Like, he was carrying NXT, him and the Undisputed Era for that matter, having the best matches in the world. You got to understand, he was the Wrestler of the Year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated for the year of 2019. He was the PWI Wrestler of the Year. Not anybody from AEW, not anybody from New Japan or from the WWE main roster. It was Adam Cole. And he also won a ton of awards, WWE-wise. The NXT awards, I think he swept. He was on a trajectory. When Triple H went down with the physical illness and the heart problems that he did, a lot of those guys saw the writing on the wall and got the fuck out of there. And because they knew that the format was probably going to be changing, which it did. And on top of that, they did not know where their place was going to be under a Vince McMahon leadership. All the rumors were stating that he saw Adam Cole as a manager and not as a performer in the ring. And Adam had other reasons to be there, to go to AEW. Britt Baker was there. They were still an item at that point. He's friends with the Bucks. He's friends with Kenny. There's a lot of guys he's friends with on that roster. So it was an easy decision for him to go. But you wonder what would have been different had he said, you know what? Let's try this out for a bit. And then Triple H takes over a year later as Adam Cole in the main event scene right now. Is Adam Cole facing off against Cody? Is Adam Cole facing off? Like, the possibilities are endless. Had he stayed.
Yeah, but I think that in staying, there's that high chance he would have gotten released before Triple H would have taken over. Having said that, though, I think that it's easy to say that given what you just said, but also the fact that maybe Triple H could have done something. Maybe Triple H, most likely, as we've seen, probably would have brought him back eventually anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's rather unfortunate because that we'll probably never see that at this point.
I don't think he could get cleared if he wanted to from that.
Well, I mean, you say that, but there's people that have left WWE for one reason or another, aka Paige, aka Bryan Danielson.
No, I'm not talking about him going back to AEW because AEW would have him back.
No. I understand what you're saying.
But
what
him
I'm trying
going
to say is that if he's not going to get cleared by them, he's definitely not going to get cleared by WWE. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, AEW would clear him. WWE would.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if there was confusion. I was just saying that.
No, I'm 100% saying the same thing. I'm just saying it very differently because they both left WWE because they could not get cleared. They went to AEW to get cleared because they probably could have because their medical whatever is probably a little bit more lax, which, hey, whatever. But if they are to go back now, maybe Paige gets cleared, I don't know, but I don't think Bryan Danielson's getting cleared ever again.
No,
I just don't.
I don't think Adam Cole would either by WWE doctors.
Not at this point.
AEW cleared Shibata, and New Japan wouldn't clear Shibata. That's fucking telling.
Yeah, exactly.
When New Japan's like, no, but AEW's like, that's telling to me. Of course, this is also like, again, I'm not trying to nitpick. Because I'm trying to bring positivity to this company because I feel like that Mac and I at certain points have done our damnedest to be like, this company they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like we've sat there a lot of times and we've said that.
But I think that's still the case in some ways, right? Like
it is.
So this number one is one of them. And what we brought up to start the show is their production value sucks.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, it does. Like, you spend all this amount on Pyro, but you can't even film it right. Like, come on. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, listen, we could spend all that time on this, but let's move on, because I think after this, the card starts to really pick up, especially for the next match. So this was the EVP titles versus Ospreay and Strickland, potentially not being able to challenge for a world championship in a year. That's what it says. It does not say the tag titles on the page I'm looking at, which I think is a little strange. Just saying. So we open with Will Ospreay and Swerve both having great entrances to start. And then we get to Matthew and Nicholas
you popped
Jackson.
hard for the Will. You popped hard for the Will one.
I did not pop hard. I was a little annoyed by that, actually. Listen, I thought Will Ospreay's entrance was unique and not bad. I thought Swerve's was really good as well.
I like Swerve's.
I just... The full lean into Assassin's Creed for Will Ospreay, I 100% understand it, given the aerial assassin motif that he has, but I a little too much. Just like the Bucks entrance was a lot too much.
See, that was perfect heel heat.
It really was, and I 100% agree with you, but we just talked about the camera angle sucking.
Oh,
it
God.
Sucked 100% for this. I thought it was funny more than anything, but it went
really
on
was.
way too long. This was close to like a 10-minute entrance, I felt like.
It really was. And I mean, the Young Bucks are excellent heels. They're probably one of my favorite heel tag teams ever because they know exactly what to do to piss people. Like, people were fucking angry at them just for their entrance alone before they even got in the ring. Like, that's how...
Well, part of it is, and this happened with the commentary team too, everyone's like, where the hell did they just go?
I know.
They're out there for like 30 seconds and then just walk off stage.
You missed your production cues again. God damn it.
Everyone's like, where the hell did they just go? Even the commentary team was like, what the hell is going on? And then they like, come on, man.
They just float in like they're crossing the Delaware. It's hilarious. Like they I felt like though WWE did that would have been a much bigger production value the way that they kind of did that. But
It would have looked better.
It was fun nonetheless.
You know what? Like, just also got me about this is like they got like the dinkiest looking platform bolt thing that they could find. I felt like
They did that on purpose, knowing that.
I'm sure they did, but it just
There.
I was like, come on, man. Like,
This is why I love them, and I know that there's a lot of people that don't like them. There's a lot of people that like CM Punk. It's like you can't like the Bucks, but again, I could sit there and be like, they're one of the most entertaining tag. And the fact is that this match was fantastic. Like they came in with all the heat in the world. Were able to bring that crowd back too, because again, there was still that hangover from the Adam Cole situation from the previous match, where the previous match, it was just like nobody cared. Nobody really paid attention for a while. But this match, they were able to bring everybody back with the entrances, but especially the Young Bucks being able to just kind of get all the heel cheap heat in the world. And this match, everybody was eating out of the palm of their hands in the second half of this thing. It did have the kind of hangover still from the Adam Cole stuff at the beginning. But when people got into it, they got into it big. It started slow. But then as things kind of got going, this thing was false finish after false finish after false. It's like, oh, jeez.
yeah.
And there were sequences you were like, that I was just like, holy shit. Like, holy shit. Like this, and say what you want. And there's people that hate this style of matchup. They think it's too choreographed. It looks too phony. But it is entertaining and fun to watch nonetheless. And this match had everything. Everything. It made Swerve look like a goddamn killer when he just kept getting super kicked and destroyed both the Jacksons. Like that. Every time you thought it was over and they had somebody was going to win, here comes somebody out of nowhere making the save. And it was exactly what you expect with the people involved. Swerve and Will did a tremendous job as a tag team in this. It's kind of a tough sell for those guys because it's like Will's looking to get that world title eventually, which if it's going to be in Wembley next year, it's probably going to be next year if they can get Wembley. But then on top of that, you have Swerve, who's been world champion in the last year or so, and he'd love to get the belt back, but now it's like, oh, we got to tell the better story and be involved in this and have some stakes involved into it. And they did great. I thought the match was fantastic.
I agree. Before we move on, though, I want to go back to the pre-show for a second because I completely forgot about this part until we started talking about this tag match, and I had to try to maneuver my memory here a little bit. But I want to just really quickly touch on this. In their tag match in the pre-show, the Outrunners had this outfit on that your fiance Stephanie made the comment that they look like cigarettes. The Outrunners outfits were all in. The pants just straight up made it look like it was a pack of Newports. Like even the way they had their names on the pants made it look like Newports. It was the white top, the gold rims up by the thigh, upper thigh, and then like stripe of the same color green and color black as a pack of Newports. Just made me laugh.
Some of my favorite highlights from the show was her coming out because She
Well, the
kind of
highlights
stayed.
of the show for her were like, it's still going on.
It's still going on. Yeah, that was the highlights. And then two, she'd come out. I think because she came out. Of course, she came out during the matches where the one thing that she hates happens a lot, and it's the 2 counts. She hates the 2 counts. Hates it. She hates false finishes. So of course she comes in and looks at the Bucks and Osprey and Swerve match. And every time I'm like, honey, 2 count. Honey, 2 count. She's like, shut up. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, she's getting over with at this point. Like, why do you keep doing this?
I felt like that half the night. Speaking of getting it over with, the next match, as I said, we didn't really watch this one. We really were not invested. Yeah, I was surprised it was that long.
27 minutes.
But this was the women's casino gauntlet match. This was won by Athena, who pinned Mina Shirakawa to win. My thing was, we already watched the men's one. We crapped all over it. It was very, I felt, cookie cutter, even with the booking decisions, even with the spots they had. I didn't really feel like we needed to watch this.
No, we didn't. We didn't at all.
And the fact that Athena won, she's been Ring of Honor champion for what, like 900 something days at this point?
It's like 2 or 3 years.
Nothing.
It's ridiculous.
They've just done nothing. What's the point? But again, Athena will now be able to challenge Toni Storm or whoever else ends up being the champion after her. Maybe we'll have to see how they actually book that, which I'm not confident will be good, but we shall see. The next match was the 3-way tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
Oh my god.
This was booked exactly how I thought it would be, ironically enough. The Hurt Syndicate, the champions, retain Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, defeat Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And the Patrickry, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, which we had a conversation with somebody else earlier. We both agreed. Who the hell is Nick Wayne? After this match, there is the turn and return. The turn is Nick Wayne against Christian Cage. The return of the rated R superstar, the Ledge, and Adam Copeland. What's up? What'd you say?
I like Mother Wayne, though.
I do like Mother Wayne. That meme you sent just completely grossed me out after I found out who that was. We went into this match, and I think I even said something about this either that day or a few days before that.
You did say you felt like this was going to happen.
I felt there were going to be 2 returns. One does happen in the main event that I thought would have happened in the Casino Gauntlet match for the men. The other one was I did feel that Edge was making the return. We've talked so many times, I feel like in the last couple of weeks, about how Christian Cage had already been approached, whether it be by Edge, or Adam Copeland, or FTR, to kind of do a program. And it obviously makes sense, right? Like, we all know it's going to happen at least once. And I felt like that Edge's injury, at this point, even given his age, he should be back. He hadn't been, and I was like, all right, they got to be saving it for All In. And sure enough, his music hits, he comes out, he does whatever to Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, who was there at ringside as well, and tells Christian to go find himself. Oh, he said another F word. I thought it was a cool return. He got a massive pop, which he absolutely deserves. He is still very highly rated among, main event, legend, existing talent, whatever you want to call it. I'm cool with his moment. I just felt like, okay, what are you going to do now? Like, that's just how I felt.
Yeah, it's
like you're 54 or something like that, I feel like at this point in your 50s. So is Christian. Like, just you both look great, but maybe it's time to pack this in sooner rather than later.
Hopefully this is the end of it. at least on that end, because it's like, I it's hard with like Edge's kind of run because it was like, oh, I'm here to put the young guys over, and it's just like you really haven't. Like,
He was not there to put the young guys over. He's there because of two reasons. One is called Christian Cage, and the
Yeah.
other is WWE Creative didn't have anything for him anyways.
yes, and he's willing to pay me some money, so I'm going to take this money.
I like money.
I like money. Okay, go ahead. Like, and I don't hate Edge for doing it. Like, I don't hate Edge for the run
Hey, man,
either. It's like,
go get your money.
go get your money, dude. I get it. So, like, am I interested in this? Not really. Is it going to be kind of fun to see them working together again and maybe doing some fun promos? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like,
Yeah!
we've been here, done this. We've done this 25 years ago. Like, I don't need to see this again now. I
Yeah!
can just watch the stuff from 25 years ago.
And it will be better.
Yeah. I'll just watch the Edge and Christian show from like 10 years ago. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah!
All right.
Yeah.
The next match, the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm, in 24 minutes and 10 seconds and 5 pile drivers later, defeats Mercedes Moné.
24 minutes. And again, after the 3 pile drivers, I'm just like, you gotta be kidding. Like, what's it gonna take? Oh, pile driver off the side. Oh, it's like, oh God. Come on.
I mean, so let's just go back for a second. Cena Gauntlet match was way too long. The men's one. The women's one, you can kind of make your own argument, but I don't think 27 minutes is that bad. Maybe a few minutes short would have been better.
15, 20 minutes.
I think
Both matches could have been 15, 20 minutes.
2025. Just for the amount of people they had in it, 2025.
That's fine.
That's all I'll say. The tag team match, Swerve and Ospreay against the Bucks, I felt like could have been 15 to 20, not 25. I just, again, like that was a good match, don't get me wrong, but it had kind of a slow start, but it did pick up. So I didn't hate it, but there were a lot of false finishes there too. Toni Storm hits 3 pile drivers in a row, and Mercedes Moné kicks out. Like, I'm sorry. I really am. But no.
No.
Just no.
I hated that.
However,
you gotta be kidding.
Yep. However, here's what I'm going to say. This match, outside of those specific decisions to have way too many false finishes that really should not apply and make sense, it was the right booking decision to put Tony over. Saying
Without
it
question.
for weeks. It was 100% the right decision. And they had a
Without
great
question.
match. Not for nothing. False finishes aside, this was still a very good match.
I had high hopes as soon as Toni Storm won. I was just like, okay, they're 1 for 1 so far. If they can go 2 for 2, but I was still concerned about the main event later on because this match I wanted Tony to win for the sake of the fact that the audience wouldn't revolt against it, and they didn't. Everybody was excited that Tony won. And also, too, Mercedes can sit there and be like, I don't have creative control. See? Maybe you don't.
That's what she wants you to believe.
I don't,
kidding.
I
I'm
don't
kidding.
care at this
I know.
point. Like, because you got people like Sean Ross Sapp losing their fucking minds over it on Twitter because it's just like, I swear, this is not a big deal, dude. Like, this is not a huge deal. Like, you're making
TV
it
show, my guy.
You were making it sound like that it's the Epstein files. That's what you're making it sound like. Like, you're honestly making it sound like that, which don't exist apparently. Apparently, they don't exist, and much like the creative control clause for Mercedes Moné, it doesn't exist. I don't care if it does or not. The fact is that the right person won here. I didn't like how she kicked out of 3 pile drivers in a row, but I thought the match was great.
Yep. Listen, I don't think there's anything else to say aside from, as I said already, just this was the right move. It was 100% the right move.
Right.
And I'm glad that she lost. Like, I hate to say it that way, but it's like, you already have the TBS title. You already have all these other promotions titles. You don't need to be the top dog right now. You're already a draw. I don't know
No.
how, but you are. You don't need the title to be more of one. If anything, it just diminishes all the titles that you already have anyways, so what's the point?
Yes.
But, speaking of diminishing titles, because apparently that's the name of the game so far, the next match, I felt, you know, outside of the main event itself, this also, as I said last week, was a very strong contender to be a main event kind of match.
Yes.
Okada versus a very nerdy entrance of Kenny Omega. I remember my commentary during his entrance was, "My guy, you need to get laid."
Yeah, you're like Stewie Griffin. He needs to get laid big time. Like this is it was and this is kind of,
Listen, I love Kenny. Okay, I
Yes.
really do. I love Kenny. He's phenomenally talented, and you
it's
can
like
tell.
worlds collide for you.
Don't even. I love Kenny to death. I think he's a phenomenal talent. You can see that age really has only slowed him down so much, and even the diverticulitis has only slowed him down too much. But my guy, maybe you should keep your personal life in your personal life. Just that's all I'm gonna say. Outside of that, though, I think this was a match that a lot of people went into with really high hopes. I think both men absolutely delivered, and I don't think anybody really cared who won. I really don't.
No.
But there had to be a winner, and that was Okada in 30 minutes and 32 seconds, according to Wikipedia. And didn't Tony say we're not going to combine the titles, but now Okada's the inaugural AEW Unified Champion?
Okada just has another belt because he's gonna have now 2 belt collectors in his company.
But no, I don't think so, because they showed a new belt.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, they showed it, I believe, before the match. I think they might have had.
did
it
he
somewhere
have?
during
But
ringside.
if you saw the graphics, if you look on probably for their roster, all 3 championships are still listed as active, and he is still current champion of all 3 titles.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. And it's funny you say it now because I just clicked on it because it gives you an option to click on the title
Yeah,
on Wikipedia, and it does actually say that. So I'll just read that real quick. So the title was unveiled during Dynamite Summer Blockbuster in June as the unification of the Continental and International Championship. Although both titles remain independently active under the Unified Championship, which will have its own lineage.
yes.
So, why?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's.
I wish I knew, but I don't know because he's already got
Oh, this company has way too many championships.
my guy.
Yeah.
Just combined some belts.
If you if you count Ring of Honor, this company, I don't even know. I feel like it's probably like close to like 20 something.
Ridiculous.
It is, but
It's like overkill, but it's like all right.
listen, all things considered, this was an absolute banger.
Oh, it was great. It was fantastic. Like I loved it. I even like, even though this Don Callis versus Kenny Omega storyline is so, it's like okay, we can end this at some point, guys. It still was, like it didn't bother me with the finish either. It was just like all right, whatever. Like
No, I mean, listen, you could have ended it in so many different ways. I thought this was the right way to do it.
no, it was great. I thought it was, um, Kenny hit the one winged angel. Okada seemed beatable at that point, but Callis pulled the referee out, And then a little back and forth. Okada hits his clothesline finisher, the Rainmaker, and then gets the victory. And it's like, I'm not going to really argue. Like, is it kind of ticky-tack because he pulled the referee out? Kind of, sort of. But at the same time, it's like not to the extent of, well, he used a foreign object here, you know? It was just like, it was
Hey,
as solid as a finish as you can get.
Ibushi tried to get involved in the match for Omega too, and
he
didn't work. So I mean, at that point, I'm not going to say
his turnaround was fair play as far as interference is concerned.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean that'll bring us to the main event. This was the Texas Death Match for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley is defeated by Hangman Adam Page in what ended up being a very bloody match that I was not expecting it to be as much as it was. Especially early.
Oof.
This went hard from very early on. And that surprised me a little bit. Like, I expected this to be a little gratuitous with the blood. I expected, a lot of weapons you might not see in WWE, and I was okay with that. But it happened so fast that I was unprepared.
It went from like he's stabbing him with a fork to okay, now he's dragging him against broken glass. It's like, what the fuck are we watching? Like,
yeah,
I was fully expecting him next to just throw him into like a pile of needles from one of the Saw movies. I think it was Saw 2.
Saw 2.
Yeah, he just throws. I was so waiting. He just throws her a pit of hypodermic needles. Just like, what? Thank God they didn't do that. Because
I agree.
This was violent, but it was less violent than other matches I've seen them do. If that says something. The bed of nails was kind of cool.
I'm gonna say, man, if I'm Adam Page, there's a lot I would not do. So this is the first thing I'll say. A lot of the stuff in this match I would not do. If I'm Hangman Adam Page, I am not taking a DDT on that thing. No way.
And he didn't.
No, he did. He took a DDT right to it.
It was.
I don't think his head hit, but still,
No.
there's that margin of error that I would not be comfortable with a move like that. Moxley taking a backdrop on it, I would be fine with that. I'd be like, okay, because I understand how science works. Just throw that out there. Your head is not as large of a surface.
No.
It also is in charge of controlling the rest of the functions of your body. So, probably not comfortable with even a remote chance of my head touching that. And it did look like it happened, but I guess it didn't. But that is the mystery of wrestling sometimes.
This was everything that it needed to be in a match.
I actually will agree with you. However, this also suffered from overbooking at times.
At time, you expected the interference, of course, from, the Combat Club that the whatever the hell they call it, the Blackpool
anymore.
It's not. Oh, the Death Riders. Excuse me.
Thank you.
I expected the Death Riders to interfere, right? Having Will Ospreay come out to try to help out Hangman, and immediately get attacked enough where he has to get taken out on a stretcher.
Yeah.
So bookending your show with a stretcher job.
Yeah.
Like
start to finish.
That's what you want to do.
So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about the run-ins. So there was the Death Riders, as you said. Then Ospreay comes out. He gets stretchered out. I almost felt like that might have been real for a second. But then I'm like, well, this is AEW, so there's a suspension of disbelief.
Right.
And I want to go back to Samoa Joe, because I remember when it happened with him early in the show. I'm like, why is the medical team wearing headsets too? That feels a little weird. There's like nothing there to say they're medical except a shirt and a headset, apparently. So then this one happens, and I have the same question about it, and I'm like, where the fuck is Swerve? Then Swerve comes out by the time the stretcher leaves, and it's like, I feel like it was too little too late at that point.
Right.
And then that's when Matt and Nick come out too. And you're thinking like, oh, okay, maybe there'll be some vindication now they lost EVP status or whatever. Nope, they hit the BT Hangman Adam Page. And then they play this video promo that is very clearly coming from Mount Everest. When Darby Allin was
There's only one
there.
guy that could be doing that.
I'm coming for you, John Moxley. Just kind of weird. Just throwing it out there. So he gets lowered
Repels
down.
from the ceiling.
Yeah, he gets lowered down a la Sting from the ceiling. And I remember you made the comment like, parachute. I'm like, oh God, please no. Thankfully, he was just repelled down. He struggles to get the freaking harness off.
I
expected
him at one point to come out like Fan Man from that Riddick Bowe and fucking Evander Holyfield fight, where he just crashes into the side of the ring on the thing. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
see, if I remember correctly, they lowered him between the Trons that were above the ring.
I think so.
There was that like kind of gap above it, and I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, dude, like, just. What are you doing? So he attacks, I think, Moxley a little bit, and then does a coffin drop off the top rope to the guys on the outside of the ring, which was, I believe, the Death Riders might have been.
Fans are going fucking insane at this point.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I felt like none of it really mattered in the context of this match, which really made it feel even weirder to me. Like, if these don't mean anything, why are you doing it? Because I felt like after Darby, that was it, number one. And number two, it was like...
Well, Swerve with the chain, because that moment of him handing throwing the chain over to Hangman because of the blood feud that those guys had the previous year, 18 months.
I guess. It just felt weird. It
did, but at the same time, him throwing the chain... because they now had a common enemy. And they knew for the... It's funny, that promo that he cut against CM Punk going into Double or Nothing 2022 should have been the promo that he cut against not Hangman, but against John Moxley.
Yeah.
Because of he is saving AEW from you. Because of the implications that were made in this match going in. The fact that when he got the choke out finish with the chain over the top rope, that the fans erupted and I erupted at home because of the fact that this title reign, which has seemed to slog on, it has only been going on since October, yet this thing I felt like was as long as Roman Reigns' title reign, and that's not in a good way.
Obviously not. I don't disagree at all. I think it's also the fact that he's a cowboy motif or gimmick wrestler, excuse me, and it's in Texas. So, of course, they're going to erupt either way, right? There's that feel-good moment at the end, too, where... Because they kept saying it on commentary throughout the entire reign. We haven't seen the title in X amount of times.
We did forget about Danielson returning, too.
That is right. I apologize. We did forget that he was actually one of the first run-ins, I believe.
Daniel McDanielson.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
Oh, that's Daniel McDanielson.
Yeah, and he comes out with this blue mask on. Like, dude, what are you doing?
Everybody knows it's you.
Yeah. It was a good moment, though. I think he's not coming back full time. I think this is just I'll come out, pop the crowd, and then
kind of like Taker coming back against Rock.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. But yeah, there's that feel good moment, as I was saying before, where he opens the briefcase and he holds up the title that nobody's seen in months. So I think it's a good moment.
With Danielson's nameplate still on it.
Yeah,
Not
that was
everything
funny.
is still the change. Nothing's changed, which that did tell a great story of
It
just
did.
like how he's held this title hostage since October, and now it's like immediately that's over, and the 9 month kind of odyssey of this title reign, which I guess which people are trying to sit here and be like, see, I guess the story that it was trying to tell, it was a bad title reign. Don't try to sit here and try to tell me that it's like people trying to sit there the night that I saw Halloween Ends and fucking Billy trying to explain to me how he thought it was good when it was one of the most dog shit movies I've ever seen in my life. It's like you sitting there and telling me that John Moxley's title reign meant something. It didn't. No one liked it. No one enjoyed it. Every main event that he was in sucked. It was terrible. The ratings, no one cared. Every one of his promos sucked. Every narrative sucked. Now, you finally have the guy that was able to restore order and finally have a champion that is proud to walk away with a title where for the last 9 or 10 months, we've had no fucking idea what the motive that John Moxley has had this whole time. And you're trying to explain to me how this was a great story leading into this. The only reason the people exploded like they did was because Moxley, mind you, it's also because Hangman is a great babyface. I'm not trying to take that away from him. But it was also because of the fact, thank fucking God, that this title reign is over.
Amen, brother. Amen. I just, you know, you have done a decent job of repackaging Hangman Adam Page at this point. I feel like I was not
They
big
really
on this
have.
feud to start when we found out that it was going to be Hangman Adam Page. But they have kind of proved me wrong at this point, and I am pleasantly surprised that that's the case. We talked about this very briefly with Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, and this was another match that we felt had to go a certain way, and that was in Adam Page's favor. And that is, again, we were pleasantly surprised that Tony Khan actually booked it the way it should have been booked. And I could say that about the majority of the card, too. But this match specifically, 100%.
This was, if you had to ask me at this point, this is the pay-per-view of the year. Not even for and I'm saying in general, for both companies. This is the show of the year so far. Every show I have seen from WWE this year has had an underwhelming aspect to it.
I'm
Or
only going to
multiple.
disagree on the count of Evolution, which we'll discuss,
We'll discuss that.
but that's it. That's the only real comparison that WWE has had for the entire calendar year so far is Evolution. So to say that All In was the best PLE, best pay-per-view, I really don't think you're far off. You had said something in the chat, and this is so funny to me that we're saying this because of how much we've kind of defended WWE, and yeah, we've flamed them when they are not good. We do that, but we try to be as unbiased as we possibly can. This was better than WrestleMania.
Yes, without question. This was the best. Yes, an Evolution, which we will discuss not as at length as this, but we will at least
this was
give
12
it.
matches. I mean,
Yes, we will not give it. We will at least discuss, but we will also discuss more of the high points of that, and
right.
talk about maybe the main event being perhaps the you can argue was the best match of the whole weekend, but nonetheless, we still need to kind of. It's still, we have to at least sit here and say that AEW, a tremendous show, a really tremendous weekend for nonetheless. They have every reason to be upset also in the sense of that they kind of got counter programmed. That was really annoying because they deserve to kind of have the weekend to themselves and to have two shows that, to be quite honest with you folks, I have not been able to see yet. And that is Great American Bash.
We'll talk about that one, but before we move on to anything else, though, I since we're giving AEW props, I want to give props to the talent that we
Yes.
really glossed over here. So I want to at least rattle off the participants of both the Casino Gauntlet matches. So as I said earlier, MJF won. He started the match against Mark Briscoe. And then the rest of the competitors, I believe this is in order, if I'm looking at it correctly, was Ricochet, Bandito, which my guy, Bandito, please get a new mask, Takashita, Mystico, Josh Alexander, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, Brody King, Juice Robinson, Kota Ibushi, The Beast Mortis, and Max Caster. In the women's Casino Battle Royal match, Gauntlet match, keep saying it's Battle Royal, it feels like it should have been. That was Chris Statlander, Megan Bain, Willow Nightingale, Tay Mello, who had returned, Tekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, who I mentioned was the winner, Thunder Rosa, Shiori, and Alex Windsor.
They couldn't even pick Peraza. Jesus.
I mean, hey, at least they put Julia Hart in there. I'll give them that.
Yeah, I know, but it's like Peraza. That poor
Peraza
girl.
should have been in there, yeah. This was if you couldn't tell from what I just said about both those matches, the participants, and the entire card, he really did try to squeeze as much as he could into this, and I'll give him credit for that.
I do.
But in doing so, you don't need 27-minute matches, Hangman Adam Page, I'm okay with going 30. I think the extra 5 minutes was unnecessary, but that's 5 minutes of just, run-ins, as we kind of mentioned. I felt like some of these matches could have been a lot shorter. And when you factor in that, I believe pre-show started at 1, the event started at 3.
Yes.
Pre-show had 3 matches, so the rest of the card is 9 matches, and they went
12 matches.
Well, it's 12 with that, but yeah,
8 hours.
it still went about 8 hours. And listen, I know that people are gonna sit there and say, "Well, WrestleMania is 8 hours." Yeah, but it's broken up in 2 days.
2 days.
I can digest that content a lot smoother than 8 straight hours of wrestling. And not for nothing, that also adds in another 2 hours for Saturday Night Main Event. That also adds in another probably 2.5, 3+ hour show for going back and watching Great American Bash. And then obviously, that's an entire day of wrestling at that point. That's a lot. It's a lot.
You're up till 2 in the morning. It's like, no,
Easily.
thanks.
It's a lot of content. And listen, if you're like us, you can get through it all. Don't worry about it. That's
Back in
all
our
I'm gonna
drinking
say.
days, we would have been able to do the 2 or 3 in the morning bit, but not anymore.
I don't even know. I don't know about that anymore. It's just it's crazy to think that, but it is the truth. It's very hard to get through that much content these days.
But like 20 years ago, especially if we had like the access to the network and our borderline alcohol.
if I had more access, I probably would have gotten through it. Yeah,
I always talk about that time. It's always, I think about like that scene with Bruce Willis with John McClane and the captain and Die Hard with a Vengeance, when he's just like, he's only 3 steps away from being an alcoholic, and Bruce Willis is just like, what's that? That's how I felt like that I was back then. It was just like one step, one step. And so it's just like, if that was during that time and the amount of times that I would be closing the place out, so to speak, um, yeah, I probably could get to that, through all that show, through all those shows at that point, be up till 2 or 3 in the morning. I might not remember most of it, at least at some point, because I probably would have been overserved, but things are different now.
Yeah, we just serve
I
ourselves
can
something
retain
else.
information better.
Smoke.
Yes.
Yeah, that was All In. Great show. Probably the show. It was definitely the show of Saturday.
Without question.
It's hard to rank it against Evolution because the shows are just entirely different.
Yes.
But I will argue that it was definitely out of the three, it was definitely the show of Saturday for sure.
Without question.
I think the next one we can talk about is Great American Bash, unless you had anything else you wanted to add about All In.
No, I'm good with All In.
Okay. So this will be quick because you and I didn't watch this.
No,
We admitted to it. We admitted to
we're
each
going to be
other.
honest, folks.
Yeah,
We watch a lot here.
I had
Like,
plans
we're just-
to watch this 2 nights in a row, and I'm just like, I can't. I just can't. And part of it is because I know
Old
the results
Dutch
of the
and
card.
Arthur are fucking calling your name. That's why.
Yeah, 100% they were.
Dutch is just, I got to play it, Arthur.
My plan is to not watch Great American Bash.
But you fucking know that he doesn't have a plan. You know it. You know it going into it. You're just like, fucking, he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't, he's got nothing. He has nothing going on right now. This fucking guy.
You know what it is? The only match I really would have gotten wrong was the middle match. If you follow along on Wikipedia, which I'll get to that. The rest of the match, as soon as I read the results, I'm like, I don't need to watch it. That was part of it because I'm like, the only match that's going to be interesting is that match for me, which again I'll say in a second. But the other ones, I just felt like were incredibly cookie cutter. Like I know exactly what's going to happen. You know, so let's just go through it. I'm going to rattle them all off at once.
I will say this, and Alvarez, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Okay.
it was very funny. Alvarez said he's just like, this was the competition they put up against All In.
Yeah, we had talked about that too.
He was so funny about it. And most of the time, I think you could be an ass, but this one, I was just like, you know what? I agree with you.
No,
Like,
this
it was
is
kinda
100% a
stupid.
take because we had even said that. I don't remember if we said it last week or not, but I know we talked about it where it's like, if you want to compete, this isn't it.
The
NXT is
longest
solid,
match
don't
was
get me
under
wrong.
17 minutes.
Yeah. NXT is
Holy
solid.
shit.
Don't get me wrong, but it's not solid enough to stand against AEW's premiere show. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just not. So let's just rattle through them real quick. The first match was singles match, just regular singles match. Javon Evans defeats Jasper Troy, 13-37. Next match is for the NXT Women's North American Championships. Sol Ruka with Zarya defeating Izzy Dame, who was with Tatum Paxley. Again, really not a surprise here. The next one was the surprise for me. It was the Falls Count Anywhere match for the NXT North American Championship on the men's side. Ethan Page defeats Ricky Starks, excuse me. Ricky Saints, I mean, sorry. The next match was the NXT Championship match, which I would argue probably should have main evented, even though, again, we didn't really watch. But it was Obafemi, defeating Yoshiki Inamura.
Mm-hmm.
And then the in-ring debut and a tag team match of Blake Monroe, who tagged with Jordan Grace, defeating Fatal Influence, JC Jane, and Fallon Henley, who was escorted by their stablemate, Jasmine Nix. I thought this was very funny because, well, on Sunday, Michael Cole said, Fatal Attraction.
Yes.
And I could not stop laughing at him. I was so mad at Wade Barrett for not correcting him, but it is what it is. Again, did not watch. Had planned to watch before the show. Dan was in the same boat, and it's just already knew what happened. We felt like we didn't really need to watch it. It was also something where we had pretty much guessed what the winners would have looked like before.
Except for Ethan Page and Ricky Sides.
Yeah, and we both agreed with that. You know,
Yeah.
because listen, I'm at the point where I think Ethan Page needs to get called up.
I agree.
And one of the many reasons as to why I feel that way, one of the new reasons, was what happened later that night after this show, even after All In. There was Saturday night main event. I really don't even want to talk about this.
Well, we do in the sense of that we could at least talk negatively about the comments that were made by Fuckberg.
Oldberg.
Whatever.
Let's pause for a second. Let's just start from the beginning. So the first match, they opened with Randy Orton. Man, I can't talk tonight. Randy Orton with Jelly Roll at ringside against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul at ringside. Randy defeats Drew in less than 10 minutes, which I thought was a little unique. After the match, during the match, Jelly Roll and Logan Paul are getting into it. This distracts Drew McIntyre, that's how Randy won. And then after the match is over, he then claymores Jelly Roll. And I had a slow clap for him. I had a golf clap.
Oh God!
I was very happy about that. I don't know Jelly Roll at all. I don't know his music, so it's hard for me to make any kind of comments about him. I'm a little mad though, because later on after this, they announced Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul at
Oh my
SummerSlam.
God!
It's a match that Randy and Drew really do not need for a SummerSlam match. It should just be one-on-one Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll if that's what you're going to do. I will argue two facts. So one is that I have seen the change in Jelly Roll. He's definitely lost a ton of weight training for this, so I give him credit there. I don't know if you saw this today. This is my next random useless fact, I guess, more than anything. Apparently, they were on Kimmel either last night or the night before, something like that, and then Randy and Drew get into it, and Jelly Roll and Logan Paul get into it. And I'm just like, why? You've done this so many times in the past. You need to do this for this. I think it's cool. I think it builds a buzz. Other than that, I think it's unnecessary.
It's funny you bring up Jimmy Kimmel Live because it was announced before we went recording live. CBS is getting out of the late night business. They are canceling the late show with Stephen Colbert will be ending in May of 2026. And that is the end of the era of late night for CBS. They are not going to replace them.
That's dumb.
That's the mean. Well, they're going through a merger, which is also causing some problems with the media landscape right now. It's not expanding; it is shrinking, and it is shrinking rapidly. There's a merger going on right now with the people over at Paramount, which is causing issues with South Park. Apparently, Trey and Matt, they want $3 billion, which, to be quite honest, I would give them wholeheartedly. I think they deserve it. They're one of those creators out there that you know they're going to get good, they're going to give you great shit.
Right.
Give them whatever the fuck money they want. That's how I feel about Matt and Trey. Those are people, it's like, if they want $3 billion, give them $4 billion. Like, Overpay them. They deserve it. They've been at this game now for almost 30 years. They've been doing South Park for almost 30 fucking years. And it'll be criminal if somehow a deal doesn't get done and then it's just going to be, I just hope South Park at least, they either go somewhere or because them off as Comedy Central would be weird. Because it's like they've what is Comedy Central going to have if they go? But
maybe they bring him back and he does the Daily Show instead of Jon Stewart, or maybe they bring the Colbert Report back. Who knows?
It's funny, the Daily Show numbers have been up since Jon Stewart has returned. So maybe a return to the Colbert Report might, do the 1 day a week thing that Jon Stewart is doing that is working out for Comedy Central. So, Daily Show's also working too because it's a kind of a left-leaning show and they're right-wing.
Yeah, it's very, very easy, I feel like, to be over.
So,
but
it's, they have a core audience that's very angry right now. So they're going to go to the guy that they can trust and feel is going to make them feel better for a half hour or an hour, whatever he's on for, which I understand and I get. So,
listen,
each their own.
You could look at Last Week Tonight on HBO as well. You know, like he does it once a week. He does it for a season, and he's done. And it's gotten incredible reviews to a point where I think if they wanted to go that route instead of going back to Comedy Central, maybe do some kind of HBO special every so often, that would probably work too.
Yeah,
or hey, maybe Netflix might want to get into it too. You never know.
It's interesting though because you wonder who's going to be next to fall. Is ABC going to get out of it next? I kind of hope so. I find because Colbert, I'll admit, was really the only one that I really liked of the three. I've never liked Kimmel. Oh no, I liked Kimmel when he was on the Man Show, but that was it. I never really liked him as a talk show host.
Yeah, same.
And I've never liked Jimmy Fallon.
I don't like
tested his ass since the beginning. So I've always found him to be annoying.
Late shows, like after those shows, are sometimes better. Like that's when Kimmel was funny when he was on like
I miss
late
Conan.
Show. I miss Conan too, and he was another one that came from that kind of same thing where he was the late show first. Craig Ferguson's another one.
Craig Ferguson was hilarious. Loved him too.
Yep.
And then they hired that idiot to replace him.
Yeah, I forget his name. He was annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot. There's definitely a lot of those shows that you're surprised they still have. I'm sure Colbert's just like, yeah, I made my money. I don't care.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, exactly.
But moving on from that, I don't like the build to this. We can talk about it more in the weeks to come as we get closer to SummerSlam. But
yeah,
I'm not a fan. The next match, however, kind of another one where felt it was very obvious who's going to win this match. Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship defends and retains against Jimmy Uso. With the Samoan Werewolf getting involved post-match, of course.
Yep. And their plans to make him a top babyface is pretty much going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Which I fully expect.
Oh, yeah.
They see money in him, and they're going to go for it on that, which, I told everybody, I said, this is what's going to happen. Because he's done nothing but taking the shine off Solo. But Solo now, I think, is going for a completely different character now. I'm just like, I feel like the pressure's off him now because he's just like, whatever.
Well, the only thing I didn't like was the unveiling of his new faction name, My Family Tree.
Yeah. nice font.
Yeah,
where have I seen that before?
Font looks very, very familiar to the point of almost being plagiarism. I felt like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got 10 minutes, a little bit more out of this match. I thought that was exactly what they needed to get out of it. I don't think this is really a Saturday night main event or PLE type match, honestly, especially the way it was booked. But, overall, for what it wasn't bad. And then I felt like, like I said, like, okay, Orton, Drew McIntyre, okay, was what they needed it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Solo and Jimmy, it's what they needed it to be. What they did not need, however, which was talked about throughout the weekend on multiple media platforms, LA Knight defeats Seth Rollins. It was very clearly an audible finish because Seth came up lane on...
Well, it depends who you ask.
No, not really. Seth came up lane on a moonsault. Basically went down very quickly after that. It was very clear something was wrong.
Non-contact injury. That needs to be stated. That is a non-contact injury, which that, if you say that in the NFL and you say that in the NBA, people understand what you're saying, meaning that when that happens, that it is not a good thing.
That's why I'm saying he came up lane.
Yeah.
He did one move. I forget what
Senton.
it was. It was Senton, thank you.
And he may have tweaked it there.
Yeah, that's what I've seen as I've watched more and more replays and people kind of breaking it down. And then when he went for the moonsault, springboard moonsault off the second rope, that's kind of where... So basically, LA Knight rolled a little bit. Seth lands on his feet. And then it's very evident there because he goes down within seconds. Immediately grabs his leg, calls for Paul Heyman. He has a little tete-a-tete with him and referee Jessica Carr. And somebody from medical came out a moment later. And I'm willing to bet that he basically said to them, "We're just going to go home right now. I'm good for that." So LA Knight goes in, kicks him in the knee. Just looked bad, it looked like. I don't know if he actually connected or if he connected somewhere else, but that's what it looked like. Immediately hits BFT, 1, 2, 3, we're going home. And Seth is then helped in the back, which never something you want to see, especially either from one of your champions or one of your prospective champions, because Seth also still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Can't forget that.
So it's being reported by the Wrestling Observer that he had a previous injury and that this was to cover that, and it was going to be supposed a long injury, but it was actually going to be short, and that he was going to be able to come back like a miraculous comeback and cash in the cash in for the title. And that was supposedly backed up by another source as well. And I've said on the program before, maybe not recently, but in episodes in the past, I have said this before, that the credible source that I usually take when it comes to news and stuff like that is Mike Johnson and PW Insider. And Mike Johnson and PW Insider came out today that the injury is real and that it is devastating to Seth. Seth was on the Rich Eisen show saying that he was supposed to get an MRI done in, I guess they were in Birmingham for Raw, which
Correct. Yep.
he could have, which of course that's where they also go for the sports medicine and things like that. That's where Jim Andrews was, who I guess is no longer doing that stuff, of course, because he was an old man 20 years ago when he did like Triple H's quad and stuff like that. So of course, I'm sure his apprentice or apprentices are still over
brought
there.
In as a consultant, if anything.
Yeah, probably.
Because I feel like they did mention Dr. Andrews again, and if that's the case, then maybe he's just consulting for, whatever doctor took over.
But the swelling was too bad for him to get looked at. I don't know, again, if he's selling this. I don't know if you would be out on crutches, like in front of you don't want to work the boys. And you don't want to work the people in the back and things of that nature. And if Mike Johnson is reporting that it's a legitimate injury, I think it's a legitimate injury. The question that you need to face is if this is an Andrew Luck situation? Is this an Adam Cole situation? Where again, Rollins is going to have to rehab another injury. He's not young. This is not, he's 25. This is not, he's 27 or 28. This is 38, 39, little long in the tooth. The injuries are starting to pile up. You have a kid now. You have a family you got to think about, things of that nature. You want to be able to move around okay. So now the question for Rollins is if this is a legitimate injury. I'm 95% sure it's a legitimate injury, but again, I'm not fighting because I don't know.
No, I'll say it this way.
That looked legit.
It did look legit. It did.
Do you really want to do this as a shoot? Because you can do it as a shoot, and you can try to work the crowd. But I just not in that way, right? Like he went down. Paul came over. Jessica Carr came over. Jessica Carr had to almost physically push LA Knight back a few times.
Yes.
I think they were legitimately asking him, can you finish the match then?
And lip readers were saying he said that he tore it.
It did look like that was the case too. I'm not a lip reader, mind you, but it did look like that was the case. But I'll say it this way, and you kind of echoed it already. First of all, it's very unfortunate news. We wish Seth all the best. Hope it's nothing serious. Hope that if it is, he has a speedy and safe recovery. And I'm saying it truthfully because I really don't think it was a shoot or work. I think it was legit.
I do too. I think it was legitimate. And it's funny because we've been talking about how we're not liking this current presentation and things of that nature. And then this happens. This is not a way that I want this presentation to stop and things of that nature. Because now there is a legitimate concern, the same way they feel about Adam Cole, is that Rollins is not going to be back. Because, again, it's another injury you got to rehab. And if it's your ACL,
leg too.
And if it's the ACL, it's like, what the fuck? There's not much you can fix there. Because once you tear it once, you're susceptible the second time. But after the second time, it's like, I really can't reattach this. There's not much left. My old man can tell you. But it's just...
it's tough. And I mean, this whole next match thing too, it's tough to talk about this. But I want to give Seth his due. Like, dude has been through a lot of injuries already, like you mentioned. He obviously, as you said, has that family to think about too. And it's just, I think Seth can go on and have a great career still with the company, but in a different role, whether that be as a manager, whether that be as somebody backstage. I don't think it matters. Obviously, it will to him, but, he'll still have a job, I'm sure. It's just unfortunate news, especially for a company that really needs good news on the injury front for a change instead.
Oh my God. It's just, the hits keep coming. And you wonder what else you're going to have to do to kind of get another, even though I kind of think, and again, I don't wish for this type of stuff. I feel like creatively this is going to help them free some stuff up because me and you've talked about this. There's a lot of people that talked about this. They haven't been feeling this presentation. And maybe this forces them to make a change, which this is the worst possible way you could make a change. But at the same time, it's like, but I didn't like it anyways. So it's just...
There's two things to unpack there. First of all is I agree with Rollins' presentation's been really lackluster since turning him, I'm going to put in air quotes, heel.
Yeah.
So I really feel they didn't change much except make him meaner, which does not really fit his character, as that he is still more or less kind of playing, honestly. But the other thing that they could change now is you could maybe push LA Knight a lot better now. And the way they could have done that was winning here, which he did probably. We'll never know if that was the plan or not. I'll tell you that right now. We just will never know. But they could have pushed him after this, after a big win against Seth Rollins. But then you had him job out to Braun Breaker on Monday, so that's not going to work, I guess.
Oh, God, I know.
But listen, we're doing it again where we don't want to talk about this card. And the reason is because we are now at the main event. Gunther against Goldberg. I hated this all week. I hated it from the get-go. I will say two things, though. One is, I again hate how they're looking at Gunther as this guy who can make anyone look good, because really that should not be the case. He does make people look good, and that's why he's world champion, but I think everybody understands my meaning when I say that. The other one is, I will give credit to Goldberg, because a couple of years ago, and I continue to shit on it, he had a really awful match with Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to say Goldberg looked great in the ring, but he looked a million times better than he did in that match. I see all the online discourse about all the shows this weekend, but the one that got the most online discourse, I felt like, was this match. And it's more because of what happened after the match, where they cut his mic off and went to black and ended the show. I 100% understand why people are mad about it. I'm going to say two things real quick. One is, it's not AEW and it's a live show. They have to bow to the network. They cannot go over on primetime network TV. They just can't do it. I'm sorry. I know people don't like that excuse, and I 100% understand why, and I can understand it's Goldberg's perspective probably as well, if he is continuing to complain about it, which I believe he has. They should have ended the match sooner. Should have gone home sooner to give him time to speak. They really didn't do that. That part, you can blame on WWE. I understand why people might not want to. I kind of don't care either way. I'm not going to lie. I don't like Goldberg. I think it's very funny to me because of that. They cut him off. But I do understand why people do like Goldberg, and I do understand why people were upset that WWE did not cut their match a little bit shorter to give him time to speak. However, past that, the match itself, it wasn't bad. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a 5-star match. I think it was serviceable for Goldberg's last match at, 58?
Yes.
That was not bad for 58. Just
I
saying.
think The Undertaker would have appreciated this match. If there would have been a lot of talent that would have been happy with this match closing out their career.
Yeah. Not only
Except
from the
one.
perspective of the fact that it's for a World Heavyweight Championship, which still annoys me, by the way. Not only is it with a guy like Gunther, who is, at this point, established himself as a very elite talent, but Goldberg himself didn't look bad. Did he look like 1999 Goldberg? No, of course not. And that was never going to happen. Still got him up for a
Gunther is a
jackhammer,
miracle.
though.
He's still a miracle worker for pulling this off.
Yes, I 100% agree. That's the thing. I have to give him credit. As much as I hate to do so, I have
I'm
to give
talking
him
about
credit.
Gunther. I give Gunther most of the credit.
Yeah,
for
well,
this.
that 100%.
That
But I do.
guy,
I
when
do
he
think that
laid
Goldberg
that
needs to-
spear, oh god,
I've never seen you laugh so hard in years.
made my day. Olay, motherfucker! Boom.
I didn't mention it, but during one of the intermissions, I forget what point, we also had Jade Cargill and Naomi fighting each other to the front, which I thought was kind of funny. Save it for the next day, ladies, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes here. But I mean, I just, this was weak. I felt like this was a weak card.
It was a weak card, and on top of that, too, I have never seen a guy that's top 5, top 10 money all time be never fucking happy about anything. They could have rolled out the red carpet for him and give him $15 million.
I don't see. I'm surprised this match went.
He was unhappy with the match. He was unhappy with how they, and look, I understand, but there's many people that have backed me up on this when I said it this week in certain group chats. I said there's more people that are going to seek it out online than would have at the end of the fucking show anyways. And they have.
We both said that. We both said the same thing. Because I don't need to watch it in that moment. I can find it somewhere else later on. And agree or disagree regardless about the fact that that's the case and how WWE should not cut him off, but if the match went too long for XYZ reason, that's on him and Gunther. And to a lesser extent, the guys backstage thinking, hey, maybe we should tell him to go home if Goldberg is going to talk. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know. But if that's the case, you should have had the conversation with the guy. You should have understood what he wants to say, because all those people were in the ring very quickly after the match was over. And you had Michael Cole ask him questions. So how do you not know that there's something going on that he might want to talk or go a little bit long here? Should have allowed it. But again, that's not what happened. And then because of contractual agreements, I'm sure, you need to cut off and you need to end the show. I think it puts everybody in a real awkward place, and I that's unfortunate. But I don't think it's just him. I think it's the company. I think it's the network. I think deer in headlights Michael Cole sitting.
He's also a miserable fucking prick. You have to.
There is, but I think
because he's
so
complained about everything. He complains about fucking everything that they've done for him. Every opponent, every fucking match, every finish, every fucking thing that this guy has done when he was hot for 18 months, maybe 2 years. Out of his entire career since 1997, he may have been on top for 18 months to 2 years.
My thing is, I don't understand why he would finish in WWE.
He's never liked it there.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's kind of why I'm saying it. Like, I get it from the perspective of if they bought WCW and if that was your loyalty, then okay, I get it. I get it that maybe they're willing to offer X price as well, but I don't really understand why it would have been WWE personally, and that's not a knock on him or WWE. It's just I feel like he could have gone anywhere and retired. Didn't have to be there. I'm not saying go to AEW. I'm not saying go to TNA. I'm not saying go to NWA. But they're options.
Could have went to Japan or something.
That's also another option.
He's just this fucking guy he's just never been happy in anything they have ever done. He was unhappy they didn't give him a retirement match. They gave him a retirement match. I was unhappy with it.
I think he was just unhappy he didn't get time to talk on live television. I think that's his problem. And regardless of the scenario, whether it be that, whether it be the match itself, again, I will, and I have, and for those that know and have listened to this show well enough, I do not like Bill Goldberg. But I will give him credit. The match was not a pile of shit that I thought it was going to be. Still objectively a piece of shit, but that's less so because of him, less so because of Gunther, and it's more because he got very unlucky going out after an injury to one of your top talents, potentially, allegedly. So I don't think that helps him at all. But the fact that, he has to go out and complain on it in CVV and other shows where, I wasn't happy with it. Well, I think you need to reset your expectations, bud. You probably got a nice payout. You really did not have to travel far since you're from Atlanta. And you got to walk out, or at least walk to the curtain in Gorilla with your son, with Ernest Cat Miller, with the former head of WCW Security that I can't remember the name of right now.
Doug Dillinger.
Thank you. And a few other
Chuck
people.
Zito, too. Yeah.
Chuck Zito was there, too, yep. That's a cool moment for you. And that's something that I think not only you, but your son, who is also walking out with said people, was also able to experience. I think that's awesome. But shut the fuck up now.
Exactly.
Speaking of shutting up, that closed out Saturday. So that was a long, long day of wrestling before we get to the all-women show on Sunday of Evolution. So, again, I'm just going to rattle them off. We'll talk about them after. So we started with the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch defends and retains against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. The next match, I'm surprised of the placement of this match, by the way, was the NXT Women's Championship. JC Jane defending against Jordan Grace. Blake Monroe, ironically, or maybe unironically, since they had tagged the day before, turns on Jordan Grace and cost her the match.
That was annoying.
Yeah, that annoyed me too, especially after the night before. The next match was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Judgment Day defends and retains. Judgment Day represented by Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. They defeat the teams of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Sol Ruka and Zarya, and the Kabuki Warriors Asuka and Kairi Sane.
How about Charlotte's reaction?
What, to losing?
No, just in general. The audience.
It's a weird time. I don't know how else to say it. It's I don't know where this is gonna go with her and Alexa Bliss.
I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's just I don't know. I need to see it a little bit more, I feel like.
No, I understand.
Which we probably will on SmackDown. I just want to get through the rest of the card. We can always go back. But the next match was the WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton defends and retains against Trish Stratus. The No Holds Barred match, which we found out the night prior, would actually be special guest referee Bianca Belair. Jade Cargill defeats Naomi. The next match is the Evolution Battle Royal for a World Championship match at Clash in Paris. I'm just going to rattle all these names off real quick. Tatum Paxley is the Dame, Ivy Nile, Natalia, Maxine Dupree, Candice LeRae, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Julia, B-Fab, Michen, Zelina Vega, Alba Fire, Lola Vice, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Nikki Bella, Nia Jax, Lash Legend. If you notice I missed somebody, that is your winner, Stephanie Vicaire. The last match is Io Sky and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. However, your winner due to a Money in the Bank cash in is actually Naomi. And she is now the new Women's World Champion on Raw. So, granted, this is running unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously is the show of Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
This was the WWE show of the weekend.
Without question. You can also make an argument that the main event was the best match of the weekend.
It's, I would say, in the top 5 of the weekend. I would argue that. It's really hard to put it against some of the AEW matches. Even, because, and I've said this, right? I know people have said this since Sunday. This is that. Io Sky is one of the top women talent in the industry. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and disagree.
She's one of the top talents, I think, of the industry in general, not just, we're talking.
I agree, but if we're talking
she's in the discussion to
women,
be one of the best pound for pound wrestlers in the world.
I'm not going to disagree. But I also think that it's so hard to say that when you think about the fact that she was in the match with Rhea Ripley, where Stephanie Vaquer won the Battle Royal, where Jade Cargill and Naomi just had a really solid no-holds-barred match, where the day before you have a couple of decent women's matches, especially Mercedes and Toni Storm, who I would argue Toni Storm is also at the top of the industry as well. Women's wrestling has really not been bigger than it has the last couple of years. And I think that's why it makes it so tough. And this card that they put together, the matches they put together, if you're a fan of women's wrestling, I think you should be proud of that. If you're, as a female, looking for a female role model, I think you could look
There's so many on the
at
show.
There's so many different places, but these matches just prove that you're in the right place to look for a very strong female role model.
Top to bottom, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. It just, I know what you're going to say. I'll say it for you. Top to bottom, this was a great show.
This may have been the best WWE PLE of the year, in my honest opinion, as far as quality of the matches, but also as far as the right decisions being pulled. Trish Stratus versus Tiffany Stratton was also excellent. I thought the triple threat match was great. I thought Jade and Naomi was fantastic. I even thought that the tag team triple threat match, or I guess fatal four-way, was excellent. Including what I noticed from that is Sal Ruka is perhaps one of the most over personalities, not only on NXT, but it seems like to be in WWE. She got a decent reaction. Charlotte and Alexa seem to be a really good, fun tag team. And it's going to be fun to kind of see where they go. As I said with Tiffany and Trish, I felt like they packed a lot into a very short amount of time, considering the fact this match only went 8 minutes and 30 seconds, but it was a real kind of hard-hitting kind of contest. I was rather surprised by that. I felt like they would have given Trish a little bit more time, considering of her credentials.
Right.
But it was really, really good. Jade and Naomi, really great as well. Stephanie Bakura, who finally getting her kind of due, and also getting kind of the push I think that she need. Like we've been saying it for months. It's just like push her to the moon, just push her to the moon. I felt like Last Legend though also got a good showing in the event as well. I think she's gonna have a bright future, considering the fact that with her size, she's got a very unique look. So her being kind of like the semifinalist is kind of like almost like Diesel in his performance from the '94 Rumble.
Well, I mean, as an NXT talent, being the last two, I mean, they've done it in the past with like the Rumble and stuff, but
Yes.
I feel like for an all women show, especially when you have others in there like a Nia Jax, I I think it's really awesome representation of the brand, number one, but also just emerging talent in general.
Without question. And the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky with the cash in of Naomi, where we all thought it was going to be against a Jade Cargill SummerSlam moment. It did not happen at SummerSlam, and it did not involve Jade Cargill. It involved Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And now Naomi is the women's, I don't even know what the hell to call it because it's not the heavyweight championship,
Women's world champion.
the women's world championship. And completely kind of throwing, like, completely out of left field because it's just like, oh, she'll cash in on Jade. But I'm kind of glad they ended the Jade feud. So it's just like, okay, that's done and over with. And now she's going to be able to start something. And now immediately, because she wins and cashes in, it's just like, so we're going to have Io and Rhea again at SummerSlam, but we're going to throw Naomi in there for the championship. Yay! And
Yeah, I mean, listen, the first, my very first reaction when I found that out on Monday Night Raw, which we'll just gloss over real quick in a minute.
lazy booking.
Exactly. That was my comment because we've seen this. We've seen this. I'm not gonna say what's in my head because it's ridiculously inappropriate. But you're just all you're doing is replacing Bianca Belair with Naomi, and now
Yes.
it's just WrestleMania 2.0. Literally, that's what it is. And you know, I get it, but I don't see how you get out of this. I just don't. Because I don't think you're gonna drop the belt back to Io right away. I kind of like Rhea being out of the title picture, if I'm being honest.
Oh, she needs to be out of it.
She's better out of it. She
Yes.
is. She's 100% better out of it because you book yourself into a corner when you give her the title, and then Naomi. Why give it to Naomi for 3 weeks? It doesn't make sense. You know, just from now to then, just doesn't make sense. I liked all the matches. The only arguments I'm gonna have is looking at the third match with Silveruka and Zarya in the tag team fatal 4-way. Call Silveruka up to the main roster already.
Yes.
Just do it.
Just do it.
She's proven this weekend that is 100% where she belongs. Just do it. Do the do.
They should do the do. Mountain Dew.
Yep, exactly. I know you would understand that reference. I wasn't, Hopefully somebody else will.
Mountain Dew Code Red.
I used to love that.
With your Call of Duty.
That not so much. While we're on the topic of Mountain Dew, just real quick, I need more sugar-free Mountain Dew flavors. You already have like the live wire out now for the season. Give me that. Give me that in diet. Come on. I'm old, man. I need diet sodas now. I don't need regular sodas anymore. Just give me some sugar-free diet Mountain Dews and all the other different flavors.
I have hated fucking Mountain Dew my whole life. I've never liked it. I don't know why people like.
You know why I like it? I'll throw it out there right now for you. Is actually because of Surge. Because do you remember when Surge went away for a long time? The next closest in flavor was Surge. Was Mountain Dew.
It's so funny because if you ever played WCW Mayhem, they still have the advertisements for Surge in the game.
Yeah, they had the posters and shit, I believe, too.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Pizza Hut advertisements of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game.
Oh my god, that's funny. I Yeah, like this. This is a great show.
It was.
I was really happy with it. I really had zero hate. I did not like a few of the booking decisions, like the Blake Monroe turn. I thought that was incredibly unnecessary.
And dumb.
Yeah, kinda, because Blake Monroe, I'm sorry, does not match up against Jordan Grace.
No.
It doesn't happen. I already felt like Jordan had to dumb herself down for JC Jane as it was, but
Yes.
then they added that factor in. I think Stephanie Vicaire is 100% the right move, though. I've said it. They need to strap a rocket ship up on her. You said the same thing already earlier as well. It's 100% the truth. Push her to the moon. Naomi, I think it's a great twist. I'm just not a fan of this SummerSlam build now because of it. Tiffany now will go on to feud with Jade Cargill, which, if we look at this logically for a second, it kind of makes sense to end Jade Naomi now. Naomi being champion on a different show makes a lot of sense now. She does not have the option to challenge Naomi. She has to face Tiffany Stratton. So, from both avenues, it makes a lot of sense. I didn't hate the triple threat, and I know we didn't give it a lot of time, but I just this was another one where we talked about with the NXT show where it's like we know what's going to happen. We know Becky's going to win.
Of course.
That's exactly what happened. So, great.
Yeah.
But let me pull up the Raw results. We'll just talk about that really quickly.
We'll make it
Obviously-
quickly.
Yeah, because both these shows had implications for Monday Night Raw, so we might as well just talk about it real quick. Obviously, there was big news, which is kind of why I want to discuss it as well. And of course, the one I'm on wants to load a million pictures for this too, so bear with me for a moment. Oh yeah, I forgot about some of this stuff too. So Naomi, Io, and Rhea opened the show, as we said. So the plan is now SummerSlam for all three women in triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. So not much to talk about there. There was the next segment was a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. They defeated Asuka and Kairi Sane, which you just had a fatal four-way match against them. So why was this necessary? After that was Lyra Valkyria defeating Bayley in a 2 out of 3 falls match to then challenge Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. This was actually a good match. We had a little joking about this in a chat we were in about how 2 out of 3 falls, it's like just make it an Iron Man match or something like that. But I thought this was very well booked. I really feel like Lyra's probably going to get her title back at SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam. This is usually a reset period for WWE. Same with, WrestleMania, obviously. Same with a lot of shows. So I think that's how that's going to go down. After that, Nikki Bella defeats Chelsea Green. just why?
Oh, good Lord.
Just why? I apologize. I did forget one segment because of the way the website I'm on, I'm looking at is a little jumbled in its delivery here. But during the Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez match, Dom got involved. Looks like it slapped around a little bit. So Adam Pearce confronted him and made sure to tell Dom that he will be reevaluated for his medical to determine if he can be cleared. And if he is, he will defend the Intercontinental Championship. No, not against Cody Rhodes, against AJ Styles.
No, he used that as one of his excuses. I had adrenaline in my soul.
I know, it was hilarious. I'm just saying. So that was, it felt like a quick show. And this is why, because I think for the last 45 minutes was the gauntlet match to, not the Casino Royale gauntlet match, mind you, but a gauntlet match still, to determine who would challenge Gunther at SummerSlam. Gunther came out, cut a promo before people came out. Braun Breaker was the first person out with Penta, who he defeated with a spear. As I mentioned earlier, LA Knight then jobbed Braun Breaker as well. And then Jey Uso jobbed Braun Breaker. But, at least with Braun Breaker jobbing out Jey Uso, at least he had Bronson Reed to help him for that part. However, last guy out for the gauntlet match, because WWE believes in gauntlet matches that don't exceed a certain amount of people, it seems like. CM Punk defeats Braun Breaker via pinfall with a GTS. Reed does try to interfere. Uso runs out to make the save. He is also attacked, and then Tribal Chief 1, the OTC, Roman Reigns, makes his return, attacking Paul Heyman's group with Superman punches. So, I would not be surprised, just saying, if it is Jey Uso and Roman Reigns against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at SummerSlam. That is unconfirmed, but that is my speculation.
That's what my thought process is going into this as well.
And I thought it was very funny that Roman Reigns did not offer to help CM Punk up yet again.
Of course not.
I have no problem with Braun Breaker going the distance, by the way. I just hate that you had to feed him to Penta and LA Knight and Jey Uso, and all three drop out to him.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't care as much about Jey Uso, but the other two I do.
I do care about the other two, not so much Jey. So it's like, sorry, Jay. Sorry. Not sorry.
It just feels weird. Like, it just really does. And also, I don't know if you saw the poster for CM Punk versus Gunther for SummerSlam, but I don't know what AI they plugged this into for the CM Punk picture, but that does not look like CM Punk.
I also don't know how they're going to be able to kind of, if the plan was for a cash in, if you know what, we'll get into that later.
So hold on, right?
I don't want to like, because we're still a couple weeks out from our preview for SummerSlam.
If he is not injured, it's 100% going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that now, because
probably
the way you were booking this out, even 2 or 3 weeks out at this point, by the time it comes out, it'll be about 2 weeks, I believe. We very well could see a night where, or I'm sorry, 2 nights where it's almost a throwback to WrestleMania this year, where you end night 1 on a very high note, probably with whether that be Cody winning or Roman Reigns and Jey Uso winning or whatever the snare is going to be, and then looking at a night 2 finish where nobody's going to like it. We very well could be staring that down again.
or it could be a night 1 finish that nobody likes, or a night 2 finish that everybody likes.
Well, hopefully they learn their lesson from WrestleMania and do bad night 1 finish and then a much improved night 2 finish. But yeah, there's a lot still up in the air. There's a lot we still don't know. That was just, I thought it was important because I thought enough happened on Raw, especially with the return of Roman Reigns to Monday Night Raw.
Considering what's happened to Adam Cole with his injury, I will find it a little bit in poor taste if they decide to go with a scripted injury angle around the same time that Adam Cole could possibly be retiring because of injuries. Especially too, that happening on the same day is, it's not fake. If it's not real and it's kind of a work or a work shoot, that's kind of going to cross my mind a little bit. I will say that.
I think it's very tough to look at this sometimes without almost cringing, I feel like, actually. Because I have to look at it through gilded eyes sometimes and be like, okay, that wasn't what I wanted, maybe, but it was a serviceable show. And when I look at night one and night two of WrestleMania that we just talked about, it's the best example because there's a lot of stuff in the card I really do not like. And the finish of night one, the triple threat, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, the double turn from Paul Heyman, and all the storytelling that had to it, phenomenal. Just straight cinema. And it's easy to remember that because of how good it was, but also how good it made you feel. Because now you're like, oh shit, like they could do a lot with this. And then because of Roman's schedule, they really didn't. Which, fine, whatever, but I can at least love the match for what it was. There are some things on night one that I didn't like, but at least it ended on a very positive note with a great match and great storytelling. With night two, I felt like it was not great. It had a couple of high moments, like the women's triple threat match that we've talked about numerous times because it was a great match. Just like this Evolution match between Rhea and Io before Naomi got involved, which did not detract from the match at all for me, but I just want to throw that part out there. But then to end it with a 2 minute, it's not even a run in, it's a walk in from frickin' Travis Scott, and then a low blow, a shot with the title, and then a pin from John Cena to become a 17-time world champion, which kill me now. To end on that, no, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And I just feel, again, as I said before, that there's a very distinct possibility we could walk into something like that in the next couple of weeks too with SummerSlam.
No, it's true. I mean, I hope we don't, but at the same time, it's going to be interesting how things are going to play out. We know the big we know the big four matches right now, which we will be previewing those in the next coming weeks. Because we're just coming off of, we've talked about four shows and including Raw and SmackDown a little bit. So I feel like we have exasperated enough of our vocabulary to discuss everything, because a jam-packed weekend. We had an 8-hour show. We had a retirement match that might not be a retirement match because this asshole might now decide to go work for AEW. But WWE still put on what I felt like was their pay-per-view of the year, their PLE of the year with Evolution. It did give All In a run for its money, but AEW was just too strong. I felt like they gave you every possible thing you could have wanted if you're an AEW fan as far as the finishes are concerned. Everybody won who should have, and that I also feel could be adding to what might be the pay-per-view of the year for all of wrestling, even though Evolution can also say that as well for the work that they did. The women did a hell of a job, even though the promotion at certain points I felt like was not doing them the best of service as far as being able to put together a decent match card. And also to give enough build to every single match. Because there were some important people on the show. Trish Stratus, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley. Your top women's female talent. And you should be able to give them the absolute best promotional machine behind it. You really haven't. Mind you, it's because of the fact that you also are doing, I feel like, a PLE every 2 weeks. So,
I mean, listen, I think that for Evolution, it was not properly promoted.
it was not.
It should have been promoted a lot more because this is really your show. It's your time to shine, and it felt very lackluster to me in that sense because to come in this, I think there was really only lukewarm excitement for it from a lot of people. I even from us at some points, because as much as I was happy for it and excited to watch it, I had my trepidation because of the way they not so much booked it, but promoted it, or lack thereof in some cases. But they all showed up. They all wowed everybody. There were some really great high spots in all the matches, and Io and Rhea should be incredibly proud of the work that they put in. And I think all of them should be, honestly, because they all look great. And there's people that are going to take that comment the wrong way, but it was not intended that way. Outside of that, though,
The majority and educated should.
yeah, no, I wanted to clarify the statement real quick. I 100% think that WWE and the women talent should all be happy with how the show turned out. And I hope it leads to further instances of this show, and it's not something that's a once in a while thing. I hope it's something they revisit.
I mean, they did give him the first 90 minutes of Raw.
That is true. That is very true. They gave the women the first 90 minutes of Raw, which was a solid book.
It was.
Whether it be the promotional aspect of it and talking aspect of it or the wrestling aspect of it. They all should be proud of themselves. And women's wrestling, as I said before, has never been as big as it is right now. And that's in no small part to this roster.
I have to also say about Becky wearing the red and yellow.
I thought that was very funny. I was thinking about it too the other day. I was just like, I wonder how many people actually picked up on that. Of course, you and I would, because it's like, oh, Becky Hogan, okay. But
it was a great show. No,
it
really
was. It 100% was, and to that extent, it does feel like there's just way too many shows lately, and this weekend only proves that. But I do feel that, as I said, in terms of WWE shows, the weekend belonged to Evolution. In terms of all shows, I think it belonged to All In. I think it belongs to AEW. They booked it correctly. They booked it how WrestleMania should have been booked in terms of some of the decisions. I think we've talked enough about our gripes about the show and what we didn't like. But overall, I think everybody could walk away from that show or turn it off and say, I'm happy I went, or I'm happy I watched it and spent the money on it.
Congratulations to the talent of the AEW locker room. Congratulations to the AEW fan base. Congratulations to
say his name and the other guy.
Congratulations to Tony Khan. Congratulations to Tony Khan on doing.
It stinks.
No, Tony. I will give you your credit where credit is
No, but
due.
I'm saying that's how you feel.
No, I don't. As I've become more trying to open myself up to new wrestling mindsets and things of that nature and kind of explore everything about it. I've dived more into Japan in recent years as well. Not just New Japan before around 2016, 2017, before that as well. Even all Japan stuff. It's become this industry has, and I was talking about it tonight with the lovely Stephanie, because I'm just like, honey, you need kind of a hobby. And she's just like, I'm not like you. In the sense of that for 35 years, you've just been following, and this has been your thing for 35 years. It's like I've been able to be fortunate in that sense. And Tony has the resources to put together a great roster of talent, and he has the mindset to be able to put together a solid show. And he deserves all the credit in the world for that. And so does the locker room, and so does the town. And I sympathize with Tony for having your biggest show of the year in the United States and having to go up against WWE, who for no reason other than to counter program and to take something away from his weekend. And I understand their thought process about it because of the I guess you could say, unanswered shots that they're returning shots that AEW fired when they were in no position to return fire. But there's no need for it. AEW should have had the weekend to themselves. They should have been able to enjoy themselves, and the fan base should have been able to enjoy themselves instead of feeling invaded on their territory. Tony didn't run Ring of Honor this year in Vegas. Tony didn't run in Vegas at all around that time. In fact, he took Double or Nothing out of Vegas this year because he knew better. Mania that was there a month earlier for 2 days.
I'm not going to say he knew better, but, I understand.
He at least knew better to take it out of Vegas.
Listen, here's part of the things I'm going to just disagree with really quickly, because I feel like we're hitting that wall at this point after reviewing 4 wrestling shows.
Yes.
I will give him credit, but it's limited. I have to limit it because as much as I enjoy the show, I think the only thing he does is signs a check, and there may be things he might run backstage. He might run, certain things. I'll just say it that way. I don't know what he would run. I hope it's not the video board, because it just gives me more reasons to hate on him, if anything. But this did not need to be booked where it was booked. This is a stadium that holds a lot of seats. And it was very, very evident that they did not move anywhere near the hard camp side at all.
No.
And I believe from what you had said, they, again, like, this is a big place. It holds a lot of people. They only sold about 20,000 tickets.
Yes.
That's not an awful gate.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination, because listen, there are shows that WWE books and they are not booked in a huge place.
Evolution did not sell well.
I think it sold well, but I don't think it's compared to the amount that it probably could have.
No, that's true.
Yeah, attendance was less than 10K. They're in State Farm Arena. Let me just check real quick. State Farm Arena can hold approximately 20,000, depending. Looks like now, after seat changes and everything, it's actually a little bit over 17. But again, as we mentioned, it was not promoted very well. So that's part of the issue here. Plus, that's after 3 shows if you just watch WWE. Between the first 2 on Saturday and then this. So, people are going to be tired by the time they hit a 3rd show.
Right.
Plus, if they watched All In, then that's legit 3 shows just to get to this show. It's a lot of content.
Yes.
So I 100% get it. But the stage was humongous. Which, okay, cool. There's a lot of gaps in seats that you could just tell. And again, camera work, you could tell, was set up in such a way that you're not going to see a lot of empty seats because of it. Because they don't want to do that. Which, you don't want to give the optic that nobody's at your shows. So I think he's in between a rock and a hard place with that stuff sometimes. I don't think that's all his fault necessarily at times. I do think it's very hard with the counter programming as well, like you said. Especially if you're only following one product and only marginally following the other. It's just tough. I do agree with you, though, that I think at least the NXT show should have been moved. That shouldn't have been its direct competition. It shouldn't.
Just give them Saturday. Just give them Saturday.
I'm okay with Saturday main event.
Yeah,
because if he finished at 8, you just switch right to it.
Yeah, I understand that too, but
I get what you're saying too. I
Yeah.
don't think either thought really is wrong, whether it's mine or yours. I just don't, because you can just jump right into it. I just I felt like NXT, especially the way it was booked from what we read, like I said, it was booked in
Yeah.
a safe way that was not going to ruffle any feathers.
no, it was just a
I don't
counter
want
program
safe.
for the sake of counter programming.
It's not even that. It's just like it's just predictable.
Yeah.
Like I knew Femi was not going to lose. I don't think anybody lost their title actually.
No, nobody did.
And either way, the only surprise for me was Ethan Page winning, and that's less to do with Ethan Page or Ricky Saints. And it's more the fact that I think at this point Ethan Page should get called up. That was the only thing I thought, but once he won, I was like, okay, I guess that's not happening.
I think we have gone through as much as we can as far as reviewing is concerned. And as also coming up with talking points at this point, because it's just,
There's
we
so
have
much.
hit that wall.
It's
and
there's
it's
so much
just-
stuff. Yeah.
We have so much too to review in the next few, to even preview in a few weeks. As SummerSlam is now, our preview was 2 episodes away. Well, one more episode after this one, and then of course we have the SummerSlam preview coming up in a few weeks,
Yep.
as that is coming in the first week of August, which we are now currently in the middle of July. So summer is just flying by at this point.
It really is.
So at this point, Mac, do you have anything else to add this evening?
Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify.
Yes.
Follow us on Apple Podcasts.
Plug away, my friend, plug away. Thank you, everybody, for listening to PWW Talks. You can catch us on YouTube under Diamond Podcasting Productions. Catch us on Spotify, Apple, Audacity. Just backing up what my friend just said as well. Thank you again for joining me on this wild odyssey, my friend. Thanks again, also, for joining me for some Dominoes and a nice breakfast the next day. At least you find a place with perfect bacon, right? You know,
That
like
straight up. I remember just putting it right on your plate because I noticed you didn't have any, and that was some bomb ass bacon, man.
Yes, I'm. It is one of those deals now where it's like, oh, I know what to get next time. So,
Yep. By the way, since this is a review, catch us on Facebook too.
yes, we are on Facebook this time, and I'll be happy because this is just around a little over 2 hours, and so I'll be happy with that. Because I remember last time they're just like, yeah, you know, you might want to split these review shows up. I'm like, don't worry, we'll tidy them up. And I feel like this time, considering the amount of content that we saw, we were able to tidy it up in a nice little package with a bow on it. And
Yep.
give everybody their flowers that deserved it. Except Bill
Absolutely.
Goldberg. He can go fuck himself. And that comes from me and Bret Hart and Mac.
Well, I mean, he deserved it, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. And we will see you all next week. Bye!